Change is not something that might happen at some point in the future. Change is something that must happen, because the moment you exist, observe, and experience life, you are participating in creation. Every experience you have causes you to notice contrast. Every contrast sharpens clarity. And every moment of clarity launches a desire for something more, something better, or something different. This is not something you need to learn how to do. It is something you are already doing simply by being alive. All creation is change. It is the experience of acknowledging what is, recognizing how it could be better, and allowing that recognition to turn into desire. That desire is the asking. And once the asking happens, the larger intelligence of life responds immediately by gathering the cooperative components that match what you have asked for. What most people do not understand is that there is a third part of this process that matters just as much as the asking, and that part is the receiving. Most people spend the majority of their lives in the asking stage. They see what is wrong. They notice injustice, discomfort, fear, or lack. They feel the emotional impact of those experiences, and they launch powerful desires for improvement. That part of the process is important. It matters. But it is not meant to be where you stay. When you remain focused only on what you are pushing against, you block yourself from the clarity, timing, and insight that come from alignment. When people stay locked in resistance, progress slows, movements stall, energy becomes scattered. People burn out while trying to force change into existence. This happens because you cannot remain in protest mode and receiving mode at the same time. Asking and receiving are different states of consciousness. One is reactive, the other is receptive. One is stirred by contrast. The other is guided by clarity. Many people believe that in order to create meaningful change, they must push hard against what they do not want. They believe that outrage equals effectiveness and that resistance equals impact. But resistance is not what creates solutions. Alignment is. When resistance becomes a permanent state, it blocks the very intelligence that could guide the solution into form. This is where so many well-intentioned people get stuck. They want to lead. They want to influence. They want to help the world move forward. But they notice that most people are focused on what is wrong, and they believe that in order to be heard, they must stay there too. They mirror outrage to gain attention. They match resistance to feel relevant. And without realizing it, they undermine their own clarity. You cannot demonstrate peace while broadcasting panic. Cannot teach alignment while living in defiance. You teach by the frequency of your example, not by the force of your argument. This does not mean you ignore contrast. It means you do not build your identity inside it. Step 1 matters. You must be awake in this world, must allow contrast to clarify your preferences. But you were never meant to make a life career out of resistance. Many people stay focused on what is broken because it justifies their desire for improvement. It makes their hope feel reasonable. They believe that if they stop pushing against what is wrong, they are betraying what they care about. But pushing against what you do not want does not create what you do want. Alignment does. There was a family who experienced a frightening event involving a plane accident that could have ended very differently. Everyone survived, yet fear immediately took hold. The child wondered how something unwanted could happen if reality is shaped by intention. The issue was not blame. The issue was orientation. The most important thing in moments like that is not to amplify vulnerability, but to restore connection. When you feel connected, you feel safe. When you feel safe, you attract clarity. When clarity is present, you respond differently to life. Feeding fear under the illusion of realism does not serve anyone. People will tell you to face reality, to focus on what went wrong, to take urgent action. But clarity does not come from panic. It comes from alignment. You're always in receiving mode. There is no off switch. Your attention is a tuner, and whatever frequency you are tuned to is what you receive more of. The question is not whether you are receiving, but what you are receiving from. Are you tuned into your broader awareness, the part of you that sees the full picture, or are you tuned into external noise that thrives on fear and urgency? Whatever you stay tuned to gathers momentum. Eventually, that momentum compels action. Action that comes from alignment feels clean and well-timed. Action that comes from resistance feels frantic and exhausting. Before you act, it is worth asking yourself what influence you are under. Are you under the influence of clarity or under the influence of chaos? Being awake in this world does not mean absorbing everything it throws at you. It means allowing contrast to clarify your preferences without letting it hijack your nervous system. When you are aligned, the ideas that flow to you are different. You notice who feels unseen. You sense when kindness could interrupt escalation. You recognize moments where presence matters more than argument. You become part of the solution without needing to announce it. When you are tuned into fear, you amplify fear. When you are tuned into clarity, you stabilize situations. Law of attraction does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you consistently focus on. Whatever occupies your attention becomes stronger over time. Words alone do not teach this. Experience does. You can hear about alignment. You can read about receiving. The knowing arrives when you quiet your mind, soften your body, follow a satisfying impulse, and witness a result that feels natural rather than forced. That is when trust replaces effort. Ease is not laziness. Ease is intelligence. Your life already contains more well-being than you can currently see. Your guidance is already active. Your clarity is already responding. Your point of attraction is already shifted, and your relationships are already changing as a result. These are not difficult times. These are expansive times. More contrast creates more clarity. More clarity creates more alignment. And alignment creates joy. The work is not to push. The work is to tune, to receive, to allow, to trust timing, to soften resistance, to act when action feels natural, and to rest when rest feels supportive. You were not meant to force your way into a better world. You were meant to align with it. And from that alignment, everything else follows. There is great love for you, and you are always supported, guided, and included in the unfolding.